So, welcome. I am joined today by Carly Bird, who has the fantastic Developmental Play Academy. So, Carly, do you want to introduce yourselves and just about all your work, because it's so fantastic?
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. So, as Jo says, I'm Carly Bird. I am a children's occupational therapist by background. I am the founder of the Carly Bird Developmental Play Academy. I'm also Channel Mum's occupational therapy expert. So if you've heard of Channel Mum, they're an online platform for parents. And my passion is play and how we can support a child's development, not just physically, but cognitively, emotionally, socially, and also to really support relationship building between a parent or a caregiver and the child. So that's what I'm about. And I'm really excited to be here today.
Oh, that's great, because I think play is so important, and also sensory play as well, because it's almost a little bit of a buzzword at the moment, but for parents, but obviously it's so important in terms of the from an OT's perspective. Why is it so important to really harness the senses through play from your point of view?
Yeah, I totally hear you with the buzzword. It does feel a little bit sometimes like sensory. And I think it's because people come in from very good intentions, wanting to support, development of the senses, but sometimes the awareness isn't actually there of what are the senses. And as human beings, everything comes from our senses. Something I say is that we are human beings having a sensory experience, because everything we experience comes from the senses in some way or another. There are 8 senses in the body. Obviously, there's the common known 5 of sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell. But there's also 3 other senses that aren't often talked about, aren't known about, which are the Vestibular System, the Proprioceptive System, and the Interoceptive System. And all of these 8 senses, they all work together. They all have their part. They're all part of one system. They're a cog that if one's not quite kind of working or doing so well, it will impact. And it's a balancing act. And for children, when they're born, all of those systems are very immature. They're still developing. When babies are born, some of the systems are ready to go and have been developing even in utero, but some of them don't kind of get more developed until they're a little bit older and they've experienced movement and the senses around them. So the proprioceptive system is our mechanism within our body that informs our brain about our limb position. It feeds back about how we're grading our movement, how we are judging force of movement, and it allows us to be able to go about our day-to-day activities without having to look at our legs and our feet, or we get more automatic. But this takes time to develop. So in little ones particularly, they get a lot of proprioceptive feedback, because you get it through joints and receptors in your joints and your muscles, which feed back to the brain. You get them through pressure. So when you're in the womb, you get lots of lovely proprioceptive feedback. You're pushing against the wall of the uterus, getting all this feedback, exercising the muscles. And then when a baby's born, obviously they're not contained anymore, so they're not getting that deep proprioception, which is why they want to be held a lot. But it's through movement and it's through exploring their own bodies that they start to really build a picture in their brain of their own bodies separate to their mother. So it's quite a big, it's a huge system. It forms so much around coordination and how we're able to use our bodies without having to always look at them. And it works very, very closely with the tactile system through touch, also the vestibular system, which is our balance system. It's located in the inner ear, and there's pressure on the ear that enables us to understand that we're upright, that we're getting this gravitational pull. But through movement, it almost acts as though you've got a spirit level in your ear.
I always call it like a little GPS as well.
Yeah, a little internal GPS. It helps you navigate what your head's basically doing, your orientations, whether you're upright, whether you're laying down, whether you're upside down, if you're moving side to side, forwards to backwards. It gives it feeds back to your brain about what's going on through this fluid that goes through the canal, and there's little crystals there. There's so much around it, and I want to kind of give you just a little bit of a heads up on it. But it's, as you know, Jo, it's a huge system, and that understanding balance and your proprioception, they have to work together really closely. So the reason sensory play is so important is because it's going to be really working some movement. It's going to be really working on those sensations, those sensory systems. You've also got interoception, which is your ability to understand and make sense of cues from within your body. So being able to register that you're hungry, that you're thirsty, that you're tired, that you need the toilet, that you're too hot, you're too cold, all of those things. You can feel your own heartbeat when you focus on it because of interoception. So that's real internal sensations that are going on. And again, it's through movement, it's through connection and love as well, that we can and responsive parenting, that we can really work on that side of our senses as well. So it's very
it's a big topic, isn't it?
It's a huge topic, and something that as OTs, we touch on in our training, but then you can go on to do even more when it comes to sensory integration and all of those sorts of things. So in an ideal world, a child will be born and they will integrate all of these senses, and what that means is that they all come together to work together so that person can go about their lives playing and interacting and doing all the things that they want to do to live a lovely life.
No, that's lovely. And I think sometimes we forget as swim professionals that how much input is happening all at the same time. And you mentioned there the proprioceptive system. It's almost like that cushion of calm in the pool. And I think that's one of the benefits of water. It has got that 30 times more natural cushion of calm that's really inputting into the body. So there's so many benefits. I mean, we were talking earlier and we were saying how many benefits there were for water, and you signpost families and children to the water. Is there anything else that you can think of that we might not have actually thought about in terms of the benefits from an occupational point of view that might be interesting?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think first of all, I think, as you've just said, that cushion, the input, the proprioceptive input is phenomenal in the water. And it's you literally just getting in the water and having that pressure on it can be very calming, and it can really calm the nervous system. So for an anxious child or even children with sensory difficulties, it might be a little bit of a dilemma getting them into the water, but once they're in, it can be very, very calming, especially if it is that little bit warmer, which I know your pools are that little bit warmer as well. That can be much more soothing on the nervous system. When we are in a state of calm, we are in our optimal position, but in our optimal zone for learning. So if we're stressed out, we're not going to be taking in what we're learning. We're going to be in fight or flight or freeze mode. So our bodies aren't going to be really, taking in the environment. Whereas if we're nice and calm, we're in the water, it's a lovely opportunity to start learning, exploring movement, exploring activity. And of course, the benefit of being in the water as well, particularly, young babies, you've got the parent there as well, which is really supportive of that, which I talked earlier about, that connection and that responsiveness. And I think sometimes, and it might be overlooked, I don't know, you could tell me, but that time when a parent is in the water with their child, I think it's really important, because there's nothing else. Parents can't be distracted by their phones in the water. They are there, and it's dedicated time for them and their baby or their child. I
Yeah.
know obviously as children get older, they can start to be in the water by themselves, but they're still going to be getting that opportunity to connect to themselves and feel that water. And it's very, very basic when you think about it, but actually it's really powerful.
Yeah, I was thinking there that about what the brain needs for healthy development, and you touched on it. You're completely right. You need that exposure to the sensory experiences, that nurturing environment, the relationship, but also the frequency as well. So coming to the water and to the pool actually as a repetitive activity is inputting all the time, isn't it? In that lovely way. So
Absolutely. And I talk a lot, as you'll know, Jo, about practice and consolidation. You know, things take time. We can't expect sort of miracles. I mean, you can have miracles in one session, but over time and exposure, you know, that opportunity for that child to learn and be exposed to something different. And I think that weightlessness in the water as well. I mean, going back to my time, you know, working in the NHS and sort of more in pure OT with those babies with, and young children with developmental delays, the water was a wonderful way to really invite that child to explore their body without having the weight that they would have on the land. You know, for their core stability, a lot of the little ones with like low muscle tone, being on land and having that gravity would make movement harder. But in the water, you've got that you know, that you're able to float, and you've got that support from the water as well, which gives children the opportunity to do the movements, to learn coordination with the help of the water supporting their body weight. And it's through repetition. So if a child who is, you know, has got a developmental delay or doesn't, you know, they're just generally learning about moving their body, it's doing it in more of an effortless way in water. So it's exposing them to a different way of navigating their bodies, exploring their bodies, and that repetition. So they're getting to do those same movements again and again, and those movement patterns, they form neural pathways in the brain, which can then be transferred onto land. So it has an amazing, it has a really, really powerful place for children with, like I say, developmental delays, low muscle tone, cerebral palsy, but it also has it, you know, that benefit for all children who are learning about their bodies and are still strengthening their muscles, still building their stamina. It gives them, it's a great part of the puzzle, you know, like to have that exposure. So it's the senses that are getting that exposure, but it's also actually having the opportunity to move and develop and learn to coordinate their bodies.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, because I think you're right there. When you were talking, I was thinking, that is just so right. When our little ones are in the water, they do move in so many more different ways. They can move in more ways because obviously babies, they're going through their motor milestones, aren't they? And perhaps they're not, you know, they're pre-walkers. But actually in the water, it's like a 3D. You've got that cross patterning and that bilateral, but actually, again, it all happens naturally because it is either supported on a parent's hands, which I think there is so many benefits having two hands, because how many times as parents we are multitasking, aren't we? And sometimes it is just a short period of time with our little ones, but it's half an hour, as you say, in the water, no distractions, two hands, beautiful eye contact as well, and all of those lovely body gestures. So I'm so with you. And Carly, I love your program, and it's all about play, and the water just brings out that freedom and that natural play. Now, you've got a couple of expressions I absolutely love. You call about putting the power into play. I mean, how powerful is that as a parent expression? I absolutely love it. And plays your, you know, we need to really help and educate parents how important play is, don't we?
Absolutely, we really do. And as an occupational therapist, we look at play as an occupation. Play is a child's occupation. It's their work, it's their leisure, it's their productivity. they learn everything through play. And play for a baby is going to look very different to play as, you know, like a 4-year-old. But play ultimately is that joyful, mindful, interactive experience of being in the moment and exploring movement, exploring objects, exploring the environment, exploring people. And for me, my whole passion is, as you know, Jo, play is everything to me, because it is what, you know, supports the development of babies, not just physically, but cognitively, like how they think, how they problem solve, their language, so socially, how they interact with their environment, how they interact with other people. Emotionally, it helps them to learn how to regulate their emotions and play out their emotions, and how they, you know, how they fit into the world. So play, the power of play, which, as you say, is my little saying, it is powerful. And the big thing for me as well is empowering parents to see how important they are in that, because, you know, you and I, Jo, we can of course give parents and children an amazing play session, but to pass on that knowledge to parents who can go away and actually say, hang on a minute, I can do this with my child as well, and understand that children, that parents or caregivers are a child's play environment. So, and I talk about that a lot, and actually that bonding, that relationship, is really going to enhance the power of play as well. So so the power of play is something that I talk about a lot in my courses, and a lot of what you mean, you've done the course, Jo, but some of the things that are in there are definitely transferable.
I'll introduce it, because so I really wanted to be a developmental play practitioner, because at Aqua Sensory, it's all about bringing dry land experiences, dry land therapies, just really cherry picking and then bringing them alive into the pool. And I think it's really nice to work and collaborate with different experts in their fields. But then it's actually something else to have that stamp of approval, the certificate. And we're fortunate that we do have opportunities to have dry land and also the water. So I absolutely loved your course. And there was things in there that really consolidated my knowledge and confirmed all the benefits. And actually, there were so many new things as well. So, I think it's well worth any professional, really, at any different level, with an interest in child development, play, and enhance their knowledge, really. So I think it's great.
Thank you, Jo.
Do you want to explain a little bit about, because you've got 2 courses, haven't you, at the moment? Your developmental play and your tummy time as well. We mustn't forget that one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, there's a developmental play for ages 1 to 3 years. That's come out first, because I want to do one for 0 to 5, and it's going to come out in parts. But I went for 1 to 3 first, because it's the age group that I had most people say they have difficulty with, because obviously at that age, children have suddenly found their, you know, feet. Hopefully, they're moving, they're working, and their attention span isn't as great. But I love that. I love that age.
The toddler age.
Yeah, I love it. So that's why it was 1 to 3 first. 0 to 1 and 3 to 5 should be coming in 2022. And then I've got the Tummy Time Practitioner course. So this is a course that looks at the position of play that is tummy time. So I call tummy time a position for play, because it's not something you just do with your baby, as in you just put them on the floor and say, hey, you're doing tummy time. It's an opportunity for play. It's an opportunity for connection and interaction with the baby. And tummy time is suitable from birth. And that is often not always known. And so the course looks a lot at how we can introduce tummy time from birth, how we use parents' bodies, so parent-based poses to begin with before we start getting babies down on the ground. And of course, some of these can be used in the water, and obviously in the water, you know, the prone position against in the water is going to be amazing for tummy time, and the importance and why it's important. And some parents, they think, oh, tummy time, yeah, I do that sometimes, it's not that important. But actually, there's so many benefits. And as an occupational therapist, unfortunately, I saw the babies who didn't get exposed to tummy time. And that's not to say that all babies, if you don't do tummy time with your baby, there's going to be a problem. That's not what I'm saying, but there can be, and I have seen it. So for me, I really wanted to get that message out there, about the importance of tummy time, not just for a child having opportunity to develop their neck and back muscles, which is often what parents, rightly so, that's what they think it's for. It's more than that. It's developing their spine, it's supporting their shoulder stability, it's looking at all these other skills, sensory processing skills as well.
Vision as well, isn't it?
Yeah, vision. It actually has impact on the school years, and like postural control and things like that. So that's why that course is there for people who are working directly with babies and parents, to be able to feel confident in what they're talking about, and because there's a lot of stuff you can get online, but this is an actual course that will enable you to say, I'm a tummy time practitioner, and these are OT approved poses, and I've got a manual of like 50 poses and positions and play activities. Sometimes people think, wow.
Yeah, I know. I've picked up so many, because we do a lot of tummy time in the pool. As you said, it is prone on hands, or we do swim positions where they're beautifully on the parent. Obviously they're on the pool noodles, but I still picked up lots. And I think you're right. It's being able to pass to parents with confidence snippets, because I have so many parents say, oh, we do that anyway, or, well, sensory's everywhere, isn't it? Sensories is when I go to the park or when I go to the shops. Why have extra sensory? So I think actually it's about, as you say, adding in the meaning behind it, meaningful experiences, and empowering parents with the benefits and the why in really easy language as well, because there's a lot of complicated terms, isn't there, with occupational therapy, and
very
and I mean, if you just think about sensory thresholds, diets, overload, modulation, regulation, avoiders, I mean, no wonder there's a little bit of confusion. So I think your courses really do cut through that and give the practitioner confidence, which I think is really
that's
great.
lovely to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I really do. So one of the things that I thought would be really good fun, I've got a top tip to share, that I explained to parents, and I wondered, while I'm talking, you can have a little think about a top tip, because I think it is actually introducing explanations for parents in a really fun way. So often I have these little buckets, which I really like, and they've got little holes in. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
So I talk about development, that we are hopefully all born with all of the senses, but everything has yet to connect. Yes. And the reason why we repeat, and the reason why we have play as our developmental base, is because what we're doing is we're creating a really strong base. And what we're doing is we're creating lots of brain pathways, but connections. So this bucket, actually, by the time that they're at school, we want all of those holes to actually have a really nice firm base. So in the water, what's really nice is when the water's coming out and all the sprinkles, and the babies are mesmerized with their fingers and fine motor play, we can just cherry pick a little thing for parents, because we do repeat. But why are we repeating? It's so we have got a really nice, strong foundation and not little leaky buckets. So that's one of my little plays in the pool, that just really cuts through a lot of the information about how the senses work, creating strong roots from the bottom up, really.
Absolutely. That's such
have you got anything that would share that we could add into our little mix?
Yeah, that's such a lovely visual. I really like that, Jo. It's really nice. And like you say, it just cuts through a lot of the yeah, like the jargon that kind of, particularly if you've got a young baby and a sleep deprived parent. I mean, they've done amazing to be in the pool, haven't they?
Yes,
The fact that they're there, so then to be bombarded with a neurology and sensory processing. But my top tip, I would say, is explaining to parents that we want progress, not perfection.
Yes. Yeah, I love
that. So I talk a lot about that, as you know, Jo, and what I mean by that is that sometimes, not all parents, but some parents, if their baby or their child doesn't get something straight away, they instantly worry that something might be wrong, or they're not getting it, or it means something else. But exposure to activity, exposure to play, even observing as well, it all forms this big picture. So it's progress over perfection. Development isn't linear, it's like stepping stones. So you might not see things making those connections, like in your little bucket. You might not see that until a few weeks, couple of months down the line, but it will be happening, that little and often. So progress, not perfection. We're not
I love that.
We're not expecting, the first, second, third time for children and babies. They may do, but not all babies do. And we have to honour that, honour the differences and the uniqueness of infants. So my top tip would be, for anyone working with babies and children in the water, is to explain to parents it's about progress, not perfection.
Oh no, I love that. And I think that is so easy to understand. It's a little bit like our magical moments of just picking out the little details rather than having those big set outcomes of always like, when are they going to swim, or when are they going to be able to go under the water? It's, as you say, it's the small things. So
it really is, and they add up. They really do, those mini milestones. And as an occupational therapist, we really celebrate those mini milestones, because you need all of these little parts to get to the whole. And we don't always, unless you've got a very specific trained eye, they can be very easily missed. I think it's very reassuring for parents when they understand, actually, I might be doing the same thing again and again and again, but it's progress, and it's going to keep supporting that foundation that you were just talking about, Jo.
And I think when you talk about perfection, it's great, because then we are being like a non-judgy. We're using almost like kind eyes and almost curious eyes, but we're not expecting perfection. And actually, how about turning the lens on ourselves as well? Because, wow, as parents, we can be a bit hard on ourselves, can't we? So to have that in mind, that for ourselves, we don't have to be perfect, and we're good enough. And the fact that we're actually bringing our little ones to dryland developmental play classes or water classes, then to be able to have that social time with other parents and children, that's for me the beauty. If a parent said to me about a class environment, which they're not going to get actually sometimes,
Absolutely.
Outside, really, the interaction and the amount of information that can be exchanged with parents, it's lovely. It's so empowering, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I feel like when parent comes to a class, you are holding space. You're holding space for that parent and that baby to have protected time, to have that opportunity, as you say, for socialization, which will be different to pop into Sainsbury's. That is a sensory experience. Yes, there is social elements, but it's different. And we need all of it. We need all of it. And I think that's the thing. It's getting, I said earlier about the puzzle, it's adding that extra little bit of the puzzle together to really sort of get all those different environments, learning environments.
Yeah.
And for us as developmental play practitioners, as swimming teachers, we are holding that space for those parents and babies to learn and interact and play.
Yeah. And when you talk about holding space, sometimes the water can be a little bit transparent, as in parents have got the opportunity and not sort of compare in a judgy way, but actually their little one might not be developing enough core strength during tummy time, because we talk about the importance, or perhaps they haven't got the upper body strength to start holding on and pushing up. And you can start to just see, and sometimes parents do come to us and they just say, oh, I'm not too sure. I always say that we're not here to diagnose, but actually we do believe in early intervention. Is there any advice that you can give if we are spotting a few developmental delays, or as you call them, sort of red flags?
Yeah, definitely. I think, absolutely right. Early intervention is key. And actually, it's people like yourself, Joe, and your colleagues, they're going to often see these babies before any professional, because you're out in the community.
So minimal clothes as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You're out in the community, you're minimal clothes, you're seeing that they're moving. And so I would say, have the confidence to know that you can, intervene, that you can, particularly if parents, are coming to you and a little bit concerned. And it would just be, I would say, finding out if parents have got any concerns, because sometimes it's tricky, isn't it, because you will notice it but perhaps parents haven't. So be very mindful and very gentle, and not sort of picking it out, oh, by the way, your baby, not that I'm saying you would do that, but
we wait for them to sort of come to us. But
exactly. And I would say it would be, continuing with things like coming to the water, because if there is that, then the water is going to be a really good place developmentally for that child, as I said earlier, to move and learn and not have the added gravitational pull of being on land. Land's going to be great as well, but this is, a different experience. And advise parents, to chat to their health visitor or go to their GP, because if there is anything going on, then there's far better outcomes when we get in there early, because the brain is so, that the neuroplasticity of the brain can do so much in the early years, which is why we do what we do. That 0 to 2 years particularly, we can really tackle a lot of things in that time frame. So never feel like you're being sort of over the top if you are concerned. It's far better that they go to their GP and they say, no, actually it's fine. Then we leave it, and parents then go on, and then it's a few months, a year down the line that maybe it's been something else has been picked up.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's really, really reassuring to know, because I know sometimes we do have those inner feelings, and we it isn't our position to, as you say, but to signpost for early intervention is absolutely key. So it's great that we share that. So in terms of swim professionals, I will always signpost them to your courses.
Thank you.
It's a great online learning experience, particularly in our new world where, there are so many other benefits, and we can't always be in the water all the time. So to have a new skill of dry land is amazing as well. So where can, if I'm signposting anybody to find out all about your courses?
Oh, thank you, Joe. Yes, so my website is www.carlybud.co.uk. That's Bud with 2 Ds. You can find me on Instagram. I'm carlybud_OT. I'm also on Facebook. Again, if you just put in Carly Bud Developmental Play Academy, you'll find me. And I'm always happy, if you want to message me or email me, carly@carlybud.co.uk. I am available to answer any questions, but all the information on my courses are all on the website. So if people are interested in the courses, they can go on there, and there's all the information there, and a lot of testimonials and things like that.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I would say that the great thing about your courses being online as well, it doesn't matter where anybody is in the world, because that's the shared experience of Aqua Sensory. We're connecting the dots, not just in the UK, but as I say, we have a huge number of professionals that we connect with in Australia and America, and it's amazing. I love our new world. It has become so much more connected, which is such a great outcome, isn't it? Because, we have had all challenges, and I think certainly our parents have as well. So, wow, amazing that we
Yeah.
can all help each other and, like today, have this brilliant shared experience. So, Aqua Sensory is all about sharing. We believe in collaborations. We believe there's so much more strength in sharing. So I do really appreciate our time today, and learning from you.
Yeah, I was about to say, sorry, I spoke over you there. I was about to say, and you're coming along to my Putting Power into Play CPD series, aren't you? You're coming to be a guest expert for me there, which is something I offer once a month, free of charge to anybody interested in the power of play. I have lots of different professionals, and Jo is going to be my swim expert and my water expert.
Yeah, I'm going to have lots and lots of different activities that we can talk about. And yeah, so everybody can just try a few things at home in the bath as well as the pool. And yeah, we can have that shared experience. So
really
thanks, Carly, and I will see you soon. So
lovely. Thank you so much, Jo. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.